$4 million in extra revenue is what we were able to add in just 150 days to one of my businesses by implementing a new strategy. We introduced a new offer and it more than tripled this business. And in this video, I want to show you exactly what we did and explain the decision-making framework. Before I explain the $4 million increase though, I want to give you some context on this business and show you what it looked like before we made this shift. Okay, so let's break down this business case then. If you are a business owner, I think you'll find this really interesting and hopefully really valuable as well. So let's take a look at the business context here. What is this business? What did it look like before we made these changes? So it's a B2B service business. And for those of you who know my background, no, it is not a marketing agency. I know some of you who do know my background will have assumed that, but no, it's not a marketing agency. I'll explain more about that later on. Now, this business was doing £128,000 a month, UK-based business, of revenue before we made this shift. That's the entire business. So that's about £1.5 million per year, roughly $2 million per year business. So not a massive business by any means, still a pretty small business, but not a tiny little startup either. Okay, and 128K, that's literally the month before we made this shift, but it had been even at around that level for quite a while before we made these changes. Now that was all coming from just one offer. The company only had one offer, which was a done-for-you service. And most B2B service-based businesses will offer a done-for-you service, which is very simply, we will do the thing that we do and we will do it for you, and we will charge for our time, etc., our expertise in being able to do that. 128K coming from that one done-for-you offer. They were generating about 45 leads per month. That's where, so that was a very basic sales funnel where they're generating a lead, converting those leads into customers, doing the work for the customers. I'm sure you're familiar with many businesses that operate like that. So where were their leads coming from? So leads were coming mostly from meta ads, that's Facebook ads and Instagram ads. About 75% of them were coming from meta ads. They were also doing some organic content and some email marketing. An email list had been built up almost accidentally, not a very big one, from their advertising, the lead generation they'd done over years, and also some from the organic content. So the heavy lifting was really being done by Facebook and Instagram ads when it comes to lead gen, but some organic content and some email marketing doing some bits as well. Now, as you can see from this video's title and what we've already discussed, this business grew a lot. It's a really interesting story that we're going to go through here. So a bit of context, I'm actually a minority shareholder in this business, so I'm a part owner of this business. And I came in, I wasn't like one of the founders or anything, I came in at a later date and I was brought in to help with their sales and marketing and their meta ads and organic content specifically. So for those who don't know, don't have context on me and my background, I've built a very successful marketing agency over the past 9 years. So I get offers like this all the time, and this one looked particularly interesting. So I got involved, became a part owner to help with that sort of stuff. So for those of you who do know my background, or you just heard what I said, might be thinking, okay, so I know what Ben's going to say. He grew this business really quickly because he created new meta ad campaigns and then the business just took off. That's not actually what I did. I had a really good look at this business and analysed the various elements of customer acquisition and some of the stuff that we're going to get into. And they were actually already doing a decent job with their meta ads. They'd been consuming my content for years, and from what they told me, that had really helped them produce ad campaigns that were doing a decent job. And yes, of course, their ad campaigns could be improved, but I wasn't looking at that and thinking the highest leverage activity we can do for this business is to improve these campaigns. You know, we might be able to get a 20-25% improvement over the next couple of months, but we're not going to triple the business like we were able to do. Instead, what I recommended is that we create a new offer. Like I said previously, all they had been running, all they had been advertising and offering was the one done-for-you service, and I felt that there was an opportunity for another offer, and let's go through the details on that. So just to break down some of the economics and the details of the previous offer, because that will help explain why the new offer was so effective and why it works so well. Okay, so the previous offer was done-for-you service, sort of thing many people are familiar with. It's the most common type of service to provide is done for you, right? So it's the only thing they offered. Like I mentioned, the average lifetime customer value for people that signed up to their done for you service was £21,000, which is fantastic. It's more than $25,000. That's a really good lifetime customer value. And that was typically paid over an average of about 4 months. Obviously there's variation, that's an average. Some clients needed more, some clients needed less, but paid over 4 months. So great cash flow for this business. Business always very nicely cash flow positive, like a lot of service businesses that are doing well are. But the thing is that only a very small fraction of their target market could afford that, which on average comes out at 21K over a 4-month time period. Like, they're marketing to primarily small, medium-sized businesses, and what percentage of those can afford £21,000 in a relatively short time period. I've written here less than 5%. I think that's a conservative estimate. I wouldn't be surprised if less than 1% can actually afford them, because there'll be loads of businesses that are smaller and just don't have the spare cash to be able to spend on something like that. Like I said, mostly advertising to small and medium-sized businesses. So I recommended that they keep the done for you service, but also add a lower priced done with you offer, and explain about the mechanics of exactly what that means and what that includes in a second, that many more people could afford. Now, I knew this would work because it is exactly what I did more than a year ago with my own business. We used to just offer in our agency done for you Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, where we would manage the campaigns for clients. And then we added a mentorship program, and it was incredibly popular right out of the gate, and continues to be so to this day. We've had literally hundreds of people go through it, which has been fantastic. So I kind of knew this would work. And that's a top tip, as just a little aside, by the way, guys, is like, if you work with people that are more experienced than you, with mentors, with coaches that have been there and done that, they can just say things like, oh, I did this, it worked really well, you do it. Or I did this, it didn't work, don't do it. Saves you a lot of time, makes you a lot more money. That's just a little aside, but that's why my involvement in this business has been so helpful, because I'd done something very similar previously and was able to recommend exactly what I did, because it really worked for me. Okay, so let's have a look at the mechanics of this new done with you offer and how it differs from the done for you service, so you understand the details. So the price point that we settled on to begin with was £3,000. It's about $4,000. Now that is less than I wanted to sell it for. It's less than I charged my mentorship program, and I think this was being undersold a little bit. I mean, to some extent, the main owners of this business were arguing like they didn't have the resources to be able to provide as much in the way of support as what my mentorship program offers, which is true, and they don't have the same like brand associated, like I have my personal brand, and so I totally get that. Maybe it's the right call, but I wanted to go a little bit higher than that. Just wanted to quickly mention, but I'm a minority shareholder, so at the end of the day, we're going to compromise on these things. So what do they get for that price? The people that then buy the done with you offer with this company. So they get one-to-one support from a dedicated coach. They get access to exclusive material like course material, trainings, things like that. Regular live calls and trainings, so they can get their questions answered in real time, have like that back and forth interaction with the people who work in this business and themselves, the customers. They get access to a community of other business owners just like them. Like, because this is a B2B service or a done with you offering, everyone who is interested in purchasing this from this company, they're going to have similar businesses and they're going to have similar issues and be able to connect and collaborate, and access to communities like that is great. Sometimes just for support, to be able to be like, I'm struggling with this, anyone else? So effectively, this is very similar to what my mentorship program has. And again, like I said, I was able to just say, look, do this. It worked really well for us. I think it'll work really well for you too. And just really quickly, if you're watching this and you'd like to find out more about my mentorship program, I've put a link at the top of the video description. If you'd like to find out more, you can click on that and go ahead and book a free call with one of my team members. Hopefully we get a chance to work together. Okay, now one of the great things about putting together a done with you offer like this, if you already have done for you service offerings, is you can do it really quickly, because this company already had the expertise in-house. They already had staff members that were fully trained, that were doing the work for clients. So retraining them, as it were, to say, instead of actually doing this for just a handful of clients, we want you to show more clients how to do it themselves, is really quite quick and easy to do. So we're able to put the offer together in 30 days. That included things like landing pages, creating new ads and stuff like that. Okay. So we actually started with a 3-day launch, and because this company had been creating content, the owners of the business had been creating content for about 3 years. They had a bit of an organic following, nothing massive. I mean, B2B organic followings are never huge. Like mine's notably large at nearly 1 million people, but most people, even that do quite a bit of business from their organic following, might have 20,000 people in their audiences, 50,000 people in their audiences, because they're normally much smaller. So they had a bit of an audience, nothing crazy, but we wanted to take advantage of that audience and do a proper launch so we could sort of hoover up those keen beans and get them into this done with you offer. And a lot of those people who've been following the content for a while wouldn't have been able to afford the done for you offer. Anyway, I'm going to explain more about the dynamics between the two offers later on. So we did a 3-day launch. What did that look like? So we did teaser posts on socials before the launch. Big things coming soon, big announcement to make, that sort of stuff. Emailed to the list. The email list I mentioned at the beginning, before and during the 3-day launch, before to get people excited, during to get them to go ahead and purchase. And then we created some retargeting ads that we ran on Meta. Remember, that's the main source of customer acquisition for this business, that we ran before, again, to get people excited for the launch, and then during the launch itself. These were not sophisticated and complicated. This was just like, quick, let's get an ad done, let's not over edit it, something relatively raw, and just pop it out there just to put in front of our hyper responsive prospects and help get them over the line. And then we also offered some special bonuses if people signed up during the launch to actually get them to take action now. Urgency and scarcity, really important in all your marketing. And then they also got, those special bonuses were extra one-to-one support, and then 2 extra live calls if they signed up during the launch. Okay, and then after the launch, I'm going to explain what the launch did in a minute and the results, but just to cover how we promoted this Done With You offer. So after that initial 3-day launch, the ongoing promotion of the Done With You offer, we switched CTAs in organic content to be a mix of Done For You and Done With You. So obviously before, all the call to actions in their organic content was always for the Done For You service, because that's all they offered. We haven't stopped that, but we've just added in Done With You. And you want to be careful overdoing it with CTAs. So what we do now is some content has Done With You CTAs and some content has Done For You CTAs. We then recreated the best performing meta ads for their Done For You service, because this company had been advertising for at least 2 years. I think, I'm pretty sure it's at least 2 years, at least 18 months, something in that range. So they had a good sense of like what works for them on the Done For You side of things. So we just completely recreated those ads, but ended them with a Done With You call to action instead. And that's actually a top tip for any sort of new offer promotion. If you have been running ads before and things have been working well, or you've worked out what's worked well, and you're like, we've got this new offer, what sort of ad should we use? Just reuse that stuff with the new call to action. That's not always going to be possible. Sometimes it's just not going to be appropriate given what it is you're advertising, the difference between offer A and offer B. But often it will work because it's speaking to a very similar audience, and you can do that. So that's what we did to just get this going quickly and be able to promote this and get customers through the door on this new Done With You offer. That is something we will improve over time though. So we know that as we have more people go through the Done With You offer, and we get more testimonials, and able to show more proof, more results and things like that, then we will absolutely look to integrate those into new meta ads that we create. We've already started doing that to some extent for this business to help sell the Done With You offer. You've probably seen that littered throughout everything I put out there are results and proof and testimonials from the stuff that we do in my agency, to be able to show the great work that we've done and help get people over the line. And we know that helps improve conversion rates and get people to take action. So let's get to the really exciting part, which is the results. Okay, so month 1, this offer did incredibly well. I was expecting it to do well, but I wasn't expecting it to do quite this well. So in month 1, we did an extra £111,000 of revenue with just the Done With You offer. Remember, the whole business, when it was just Done For You, did £128,000 in revenue before we added this in. So we've almost doubled the business by adding in this new offer month 1. It shows that the launch did a really good job and helped activate a lot of customers, which is fantastic. Like I said, I thought it was going to do well. I didn't think it was going to do quite this well. Even better results. I'm going to break this down in a second, because we are now more than 150 days after we launched this Done With You offer, and the results have gotten even better. Done With You is also a lot easier to scale than Done For You, because if you wanted to, let's say this business wanted to double the amount of Done For You clients they had in a month, that would be basically impossible. There's no way they could manage that capacity-wise. They'd have to hire new staff, takes a long time to train, etc., etc. But Done With You, you could feasibly do that in 1 month. Which is why this offer was able to go from nothing to having a bunch of people on it straight away. So yeah, very exciting. Okay, so let's break down some of the metrics and let's look at the leads for Done With You. So more than 300 leads per month at the last count. That's what we're averaging since this has been launched, is just over 300 leads per month for Done With You alone. Now remember that Done For You leads was averaging about 45 leads per month. So that's a huge increase in leads by adding in the Done With You as opposed to just offering the Done For You. And the main reason for that is it's simply much more affordable. It's what I talked about, the issue with the Done For You at the beginning. Only a tiny fraction of the audience can afford the Done For You service at looking at close to an average of 21k LTV on those customers, whereas the 3k is just so much more affordable for many more people. Now, I would still say that out of the total target market they're advertising to, I doubt more than 15-20% can afford the 3k, but we're still tapping into a much larger chunk of the target market, and that's part of the reason why we get so many more leads. I also think that with a lot of businesses, when they're looking to hire, particularly B2B, they're looking to hire another business to do something for them. There's quite a lot of skepticism, like, will they be able to do a good job? Will they do it? Oh, should we just do it ourselves? Whereas with a done for you, people often feel like they get the best of both worlds. Like, okay, well, I'm going to get all the support and direction and feedback that I need, but ultimately it's going to be me and my team making sure that this thing happens. And that, I think, gives people more comfort, so they're more willing to book in a call to become a lead and go through that process. Okay, let's take a look at the conversion rates. So done for you historically converted at 14%, and this is conversion rate from lead to client, which I actually think is decent, because remember, it's 21K average customer value here. So there are lots of people who be like, oh, you need conversion rates from a sales call to a client of over 25%, or it's, I'm not sure how realistic that ever was for this business. Anyway, the done with you has converted better at 22% to date. So I was expecting it to be better conversion rate than the done for you. Again, it's much more affordable. People are more confident going into it because they know they have a role to play. But I actually think that done with you conversion rate can be better. So it's more than 50% better, the done with you versus done for you. But I think we can increase that done with you conversion rate to at least 30%, because I think it's so much more affordable, much easier for a lot larger percentage of their audience to go ahead with. And if we do manage to do that, that's going to really increase this offer further. So something that we will work on. Also, really interestingly, 6.5% of done with you clients have ascended to done for you since we launched this offer just over 5 months ago. And that makes a lot of sense. And this is something that I've seen with my own business, is that there will be people that sign up for the done with you that once like the coach starts working with them and starts teaching them how to do things, and they sort of take a look at the business and the scale they're operating at, and they're like, look guys, I know it's going to cost you more for us to do it for you, but like really you should just let us do it for you. Like the cost is small to your business, you're operating such a scale, just let us do this for you and you can focus on other areas where you already have the expertise. Like you don't need to spend the next 6 months or whatever learning this stuff, like just let us do it for you. So yes, we've been able to get some ascension from done with you to done for you. I think we can actually improve on that number as well, but we'll be looking to do that. And one of the really important things when you're introducing any new offer that we have found here, or I can infer from this data, is that the done with you offer has not cannibalized the done for you offer. Like we can see that some people have gone into the done with you and upgraded. So there's synergies between the two. But what you don't want is to introduce a new offer, it do £111,000 in the first month, but then your original done for you offer, the revenue on that drops to almost nothing. And you think, well, we didn't grow the business, we just introduced a new offer that cannibalized the old offer. Very easy for that to happen. We didn't have that happen here. And I've got a bit more data on that now. So leads for done for you. So we introduced this new done with you. How has that affected the other offer? Just like I said, we need to make sure that we're not cannibalizing. So lead volume for done for you dropped by 9%. That's not big. It's not a big deal. I mean, I was expecting it to drop a little bit. It has dropped a little bit. Would we like that in an ideal world? No. Is that okay? Yeah, I think that's fine. It's more than made up for by the increase in revenue. Like if we end up with a little bit less done for you revenue, more than made up for by the massive increase in revenue from done with you. I'm going to show you the full numbers in a minute. And I think that, like I said, what we can infer is that the done with you has mostly tapped into a new segment of the market. Because if you think about, you've got their target market of small, medium-sized businesses, only a tiny percentage can afford to just be like, you lot do it for me. Then there's a bigger chunk that's like, yeah, I'm willing to pay for like really hands-on support, work it out, do it myself. And there's obviously a bunch of people that don't fall into either category. So we've tapped into a mostly new segment of the market. Now, there is a little bit of overlap. You know, we've had 6.5% of people ascend. We've seen a 9% drop in lead volume for done for you. There's a good chance that those people, you know, we could never work this out, but there's a good chance that some of those done for you leads that we would have got end up booking calls for done with you instead. And that's absolutely fine. So there's a little bit of overlap, but mostly new segments, which is fantastic. That's what we wanted to see. So now that we've been through some of the detail, let's take a look at the results after 150 days after the new done with you offer has been launched, which brings us basically up to date. So we're going to take a look back at last month, so month 5 after this new offer was launched, and see what the results are looking like. Because I think with new offers as well, it's easy to have a great first month with the launch, particularly if you do a proper launch like we did, and then it just die after that. And that is not what we've seen, which is fantastic. So let's go through this. So month 5, total revenue. So this is last month, total revenue, £386,000. That is an enormous increase. Let's break this down. So 139,000 of that came from done for you. So remember, previously we had 128,000 done for you. That's actually 139 last month. Now, yes, that's a small increase, but I would basically just say that's effectively the same, because when the customers are worth so much, you have natural fluctuations because you get an extra couple of customers in a month or lose a few and it goes up and down. Some customers stay longer than others and need bigger projects, bigger implementation done than others. So that's effectively in the same ballpark. But what the really important part is that it hasn't gone down. In fact, it went up slightly, which is great. £247,000 last month from the Done With You offer. How crazy is that? From a business that was doing 128k a month total just 5-6 months ago, is now doing £250,000 a month with a brand new offer. So that increase in revenue from 128k to 386k per month is a £258,000 increase, which for those who are good at maths is just over a tripling. So we just over tripled the revenue in a 5-6 month period, which is remarkable. And if we look at what that's done in terms of added to revenue run rate, so if we times the additional revenue, so 258k times 12 months, we get to £3.1 million for the year. So that's the additional revenue run rate, which £3.1 million as of today's exchange rate is almost exactly $4 million. And I do convert my numbers into dollars because I know the majority of my audience is not UK based. So yeah, $4 million of revenue run rate added in just 150 days. And that's $4 million added to a business that was doing about $2 million a year before that. So it's like it's a tripling of the business like we've talked about. It would be much less significant had we taken a business that was already doing $20 million a year and added another 4 million. It's like, that's great, but the difference from where it was to where it is now is absolutely enormous. Okay, so you might be thinking, what are future plans? Like, what are we going to do now? So I think it's really important, firstly, to keep the Done For You offer. There's a few reasons for that. I think we need to keep a test kitchen. We need to keep a place where we can do market research and stay up to date. We don't want a scenario where someone coaching people with the Done With You offer hasn't actually done any of the implementing, done any of the stuff that this business does in the last 5 years, and they're out of date with the latest technologies and the latest best practices and all that sort of stuff. If they're out of date with stuff, that's just not going to be good. So I think it's really valuable to keep that. And also, why take the risk of removing that revenue stream? That revenue stream covered the costs of the staff, of the office, of the ads. It was making the whole business work beforehand. So why get rid of it? And we might be able to grow it, and that's something we'll be looking to do. And in fact, speaking of which, now that we have the right offers, I don't want to introduce any future offers. There could be an argument for a low ticket offer at some point, which again, basing things off what my business did. So we went from just Done For You, we added in a middle tier, Done With You, and then we added in a lower ticket offer that we have like over 700 people on monthly recurring, which is fantastic. But anyway, that's a future topic, future video. I don't want to do that with this business yet because I don't think they're ready for it. But that is something we will look to implement because again, it's something my business did and worked really well. But what I do want to do now is scale aggressively with these two offers. So now that we are generating a lot more revenue and a lot more of that revenue is being retained as profit because the Done With You is less expensive in labor costs to provide, we have a lot more profit to play with, which is great. So I basically want us now to get really aggressive on our ads. I think we can spend a lot more on advertising. I think this company can do a better job with their organic content and bring expertise on board to help with that. And we effectively now have the war chest to be able to go and do that. So aggressively scaling is what we're looking to do. And the target is to do £10 million in 2025. So that would be more of a doubling of the run rate from where we are now. But I think that's achievable. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we way overshoot that, but I think that's a good solid target that's achievable, but will still be challenging. And then finally, did you like this video? Would you like me to make more videos like this? I can create a lot more business case study videos like this. Like I said, we've worked with 2,000 plus clients over the last 9 years. We've had 1,000 people or so go through my mentorship program the last 18 months. There's 700 businesses at any one time in my low ticket offer. Like, we have access to so much great information in terms of businesses, where they were, what they did to improve things and where they got to. And I think that's a great way to learn, going through case studies like this. I certainly like consuming that type of content. So if you like this sort of stuff, let me know in the comments below. Obviously, anything we do share, it will have to be anonymized, just like I did with this one. And in case anyone is like in my mentorship program or a client of ours and they're watching this thinking, I don't want my stuff shared, it would all be anonymized and unidentifiable. But if you like this stuff, let me know in the comments and I will endeavor to make more of it. Please also go ahead and subscribe. That would be very much appreciated and really help me out. And I will see you on another video.